You know that moment when the stadium goes quiet even before the press release lands. That's exactly what happened when word spread at 28 200-meter Olympic champion Gabby Thomas will not compete at the World Championships in Tokyo this month. And that silence, well, it wasn't from surprise so much as a shared heartbreak. What could have been a triumphant title defense instead has become a story about a body asking for a pause and a community forced to wait. But how did we get here? It started back in May. That's when Thomas first began battling an insidious, stubborn Achilles ailment. Then by July, things worsened. The injury that had been manageable suddenly demanded attention. As a result, she and her coach Tanya Buford Bailey made what feels like the toughest call. The injury simply didn't have enough time to mend before the World Championships. Suddenly, the field in Tokyo feels emptier. Yet, how does an athlete accept stepping away when every instinct is to push forward? I understand that it will be disappointing for some track fans to hear this news, but I've finally come to the realization that it's okay to be human and take care of myself, Thomas said, and that candid line struck a chord in all of us. She didn't sugarcoat it. As an athlete, you always want to keep grinding, but sometimes you simply can't outwork an injury. Sometimes it's about patience and making the right decision for the long term. How refreshing and how rare to hear an elite athlete talking about self-care instead of sheer grit. She didn't forget the team they. She closed with all the best to my Team USA teammates fighting for medals in Tokyo. That line felt like a virtual hug. It was the perfect blend of disappointment and optimism, and it left us waiting. How will Team USA step up in her absence? And what's next for Thomas? Minutes after the team statement landed, Thomas returned to X with a short warm note to fans, admitting she'd been a little nervous to share the news, but thanking partners and supporters for their outpouring. I have been met with so much support from partners and track fans. It truly means so much. I love track and can't wait to get back to myself and racing the best in the world. See you guys soon. Medium skin tone emoji. Modifier, she wrote, signing off with a heart. Gabby Thomas' last race at the U.S. Championships on August 3rd in Eugene was as dramatic as it gets. She edged into the final spot on the world team by just 0.001 seconds. Her effort, her will, it was staggering. Yet, even that superhuman push wasn't enough to overcome a physical red flag. Suddenly, Tokyo 2025 is looking a little different. But maybe, just maybe, a wiser path forward has begun. And as the news is settling in, emotions are spilling over. Fans took to social media in waves. Some expressing heartbreak, others voicing frustration that Tokyo will now miss one of its brightest stars. Get well soon. Fans unload after Gabby Thomas withdraws from Tokyo Worlds. Well, as the news about 200-meter Olympic champ Gabby Thomas World Championship withdrawal came out, fans went into a frenzy. The news alone was enough to shake the track and field world. So what's been happening online since? Immediately fans poured onto Twitter X, their reactions spilling in waves. One lit the mood with blunt honesty. She knew she was going to get smoked. A harsh way of saying expectations were sky high, and maybe the injury cut that short. It raises the question, were fans bracing for trouble before the official word dropped? Then came the skeptics. A few fired back with, "Show me the medical certificate." Their tone less about support, more about proof. And that leads you to wonder, how quickly do fandom and doubt collide when the news hits? But not everyone jumped to doubt amid the rumble. Empathy broke through. Respect her being open about it, though. Speedy recovery. One fan wrote a nod to her honesty and grace in stepping back. That kind of sentiment reinforces why so many love her beyond her times and medals. And yet, what does it say when vulnerability earns more respect than performance? Still, frustration bubbled. That's a tough one, someone admitted, echoing the feeling of collective disappointment, and then more anger. These injuries are ruining the sport. Man, what the hell? Another lamented, blaming recurring setbacks on the sport itself. That sparks a bigger question. Are injuries shaping our view of athletics more than the athletes? Then, the outright shockers. Oh, hell no. This is not good. Sigh. Achilles injuries are. Just get well soon, Gabby. Raw. Exasperation wrapped in well wishes. The tone swings from disbelief to heartfelt, urging with one overarching question. Left hanging. What happens when your favorite can't show up? Some dug deeper into the backstory. It was clear that she wasn't going to Tokyo after the outburst against her relay teammates. That points at earlier tensions. Perhaps fans sense frustration leaking before the formal withdrawal, and suddenly you ask, could emotional warnings have surfaced earlier? Finally, optimism peeked through. Sad that last year's Golden Girl will be missing out. The 200M is pretty wide open this year. Take that seize opportunity in absence. So, in the silence left by Thomas, field opens up and the chatter begs. Who today steps into the void she leaves behind? Triumphant, announced 200-meter gold medalist, bearer of 3 gleaming Paris 2024 medals, would not be lining up for the World Championships in Tokyo this September. The culprit, an Achilles tendon injury, one first whispered in May and aggravated beyond repair by July. With a heavy heart, Thomas put her health first and withdrew. For fans, fellow athletes, and the sport itself, the news sparked a wave of collective heartbreak. Gabby has become more than just a sprinter. She's a symbol of grit, scholarly poise, Harvard brain power, meet sprinting brilliance, and modern grace under pressure. Her absence is not merely the loss of a metal contender. It's the loss of a radiant force that dazzles the starting blocks. Track and field in its raw beauty thrives on narratives of triumph over adversity. Gabby's career embodies precisely that. From a liver mass that threatened her hopes before Tokyo 2021 to near quit moments to university valedictorian brilliance to Olympic glory. Now, as she grapples with an injury she aptly describes as unmanageable in time for Tokyo, the community comes together, not just with get well soon, but with a collective hug of empathy. There's admiration, too, for her courage in saying it's okay to be human. That courage resonates deeper than any finish line. Her statement reflected melancholy honesty. It's tough news, and I know some track fans will be disappointed, but I've come to accept that it's okay to be human and prioritize my health. Her words remind us that even champions bear vulnerabilities, and that true strength often lies in choosing long-term wellness over immediate glory. At the USA Championships, she did earn her spot, third in the 200M, but it came with compromises, limited training, conservative effort, and a race run with one eye on survival, not just competition. Now, instead of watching Gabby blaze down Tokyo's track, fans will bite back tears, typing messages of encouragement and flinging heart emojis into the digital void. Relay teammates will carry her spirit anyway. Rivals will race with reminders of her absence, woven into their loss and motivation. But this is no defeat. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like and share. Till next time.